Now, let's talk about life after COVID, especially for baby boomers who are supposed to be enjoying their retirement at the moment. Let's catch up with demographer extraordinaire Bernard Salt. Good to talk to you again, Bernard.
Hi, Chris.
There's a lot of people I have sympathy for in this pandemic. To be honest, mainly small business people and children are having their educations interrupted. But your latest musings have got me concerned about people who are having their retirements just obliterated.
Well, yes, in fact, I did a piece in the Australian this morning looking at the retiree of the future. And I made the point that 80 years ago, there were no retirees because life expectancy in the 1940s was about 62, or 63. You dropped dead 2 years before you got a pension 80 years ago. Whereas today, life expectancy is about 84. And so the average Australian needs to provision for, at the very least, almost 20 years in retirement. It's a new concept to have evolved. And then when you look at the retirement age group, I had another graphic as well in the paper this morning, and it shows the number of people added to the retirement age group, 65 plus, over 100 years, 1966 on the left and through to 2066 on the right. And you can see where we are at the moment in 2021 or so. So the numbers pushing into retirement did not change for about 40 years until about 2011. And in 2011, they just go crazy upwards. And the reason for that is that the very first baby boomer ever invented in 1946 turned 65 in 2011, and you can see it scaling up. And we won't reach peak baby boomer in retirement until 2026 or 27 or so. So we've got a lot of baby boomers.
So there's a ways to go, and there are interesting repercussions from that. One little factoid I want to slip in because I think it's relevant in the current situation, just to quell the alarmists. You mentioned life expectancy now being 84. The average age of COVID deaths in this country is about 86. So just keep that in mind when people get too hysterical. But when you talk about all these baby boomers retiring, they'll tend to maybe downsize, live in small apartments, sell off their sprawling suburban houses and do a bit more travel. And this could benefit a lot of people.
Very, very much so. In fact, about 2/3 of the baby boomers, or just over 60%, are in the retirement age group at the moment. And I think many of them, up until the coronavirus, had been working on. So they'd be, they're tertiary educated or whatever it is. It wasn't that difficult for them, I suppose, just to remain in the workplace. But I think that the baby boomer mindset now is, I have lost 2 years of two of the good remaining years that I've got. And when you're in the mid-60s or so, people think, well, how many good years have I got left? I've just lost 2 of them. On the other side of the coronavirus, I think that baby boomer generation is going to go for broke. I think that they will. I think they'll downshift, downsize. I think some will migrate north to Queensland. They'll do the Miami option that Americans will do. They'll do their Rhine River cruises and start to spend the kids' inheritance. So I think the post-COVID world will see a burst of activity from baby boomers that had been holding back and waiting for 2 years, and then they're going to be off like a rocket and really define that. All
the Morty Seinfelds heading to Queensland.
Reinvent the retirement age. You don't use the R word when you're marketing to a baby boomer. The retirement is for old people. They call themselves lifestylers or bucket listers. Ticking off bucket lists. Bucket listers and lifestylers. Retirees is last century, Chris.
Oh, I can't wait to give it a crack myself, but I think I'm working till I'm 85 or 4 to get my kids through school. Thanks for joining us, Bernard. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Bernard Salt there always puts a fascinating twist on how we're changing as a nation. A lot of people had their lives on hold for the last year and a half, going on for 2 years, and many of them, of course, will be retirees, or as he says, the bucket listers.